Topic's going to be honor, pride, self-worth, or the lack of honor, pride, and self-worth. We have heroes all across this country, men and women in uniform. You have your military who protect this country. They take an oath to the Constitution, and they protect us against enemies both foreign and domestic. These are selfless individuals. They work very, very hard to protect our rights and to protect our freedoms. You also have the police. The police across this country also work very, very hard to protect our rights, our freedoms, to protect and serve. Their job is to protect the community. Most of them are very good at it. There are some, you have your one-offs that are not very good at it. They either A, make a mistake, or B, they have an alternative agenda, alternative motive to doing it. They could be bad cops, or they could just be careless. The majority of the cops, though, are brave men and women who put on that uniform and put on that badge and put their life in danger day in and day out. They work very hard, and we need to honor them. We have first responders. We have medical people. As of late, we have our doctors and our nurses. All of them deserve our respect and our gratitude for the jobs they do. They are honorable people. They put others' lives ahead of their own. And for that, we owe them a great debt. They take pride in what they do. They take pride in protecting people. I actually spoke to a law enforcement officer earlier, and I asked him, I said, in this day and age, the way things are, how do you keep doing it? How do you officers not just start walking off the job and saying, okay, bureaucrats, y'all have it. Y'all want to do this, y'all want to persecute us, demonize us, y'all can have it. And he basically just told me, because that's what we do. And I thought about that statement for a minute, and I thought about the fact that this man was sitting here telling me that not only does he know when he goes out on a call right now that he may be killed by someone else, his life is in danger, he is also telling me that if he ends up being put in a position to defend his life, he will be prosecuted and he'll go to prison. That is ass backwards as hell. Do you know these officers cannot even do their job right now because of society and the way society is? And that's where that lack of pride and honor comes in. So years ago, people had pride in their country. They had pride in this flag right here. They had pride in it. They had a sense of honor in themselves. I can remember growing up in the 90s. I can remember just how many people automatically had a sense of being American and having pride in the fact that they were American. Those days are gone. They have been replaced by days of people basically hating the country from within, wanting to destroy something as great as a nation that overcame all odds to become the greatest nation in the world. We have a Constitution. We have a Bill of Rights. We have something no other country in this world has. There's no other country in this world that protects freedom of speech, freedom of religion. There's no other country in this world that gives you the right to own firearms to protect yourself in case the government becomes tyrannical. And we should all take great pride and honor in the fact that we live in this great country. And sometimes it's just aggravating. It really is. People, you hear them all the time. They say terrible things about this country. They call it terrible names, say that it's basically a nation that cannot get past the sins of our ancestors, which is a crock. Yes, we had a rocky start, no doubt about it. Should not have ever happened. But there comes a time when you have to get past that. You have to say, okay, we're a nation of laws. This is the greatest country on earth. There are more people born in poverty that rise up and become something. They become something because they have a sense of honor and pride. They have a sense of honor and pride in the country. They have a sense of honor and pride in themselves. They know what self-worth is. See, people, right now, the government is passing out these checks, and it's not that I don't agree with the stimulus. If people need the stimulus, give them the stimulus. I mean, there's people out there hurting. This virus is pretty bad. It's hurting a lot of people, mainly sick, mainly older people, mainly people that already have underlying conditions. But it's a bad virus. It was pushed on us by the Communist Chinese, though. And the Communist Chinese have done a lot to destroy our country. They intentionally release this virus on the rest of the world. And when you think about that and you actually look at that concept, they wanted to bring the rest of the world down. And they're racing right now to find a vaccine so that the rest of the world has to overlook what they have done. I don't think we should overlook it. I think we should hold them fully accountable for this. I think the whole entire world should hold them fully accountable for what they've done to the world. They had a chance when they locked down Wuhan and would not allow any domestic flights, and they were lying to the World Health Organization, which they're basically a bunch of Chinese, basically a bunch of people that have been bought by the Chinese anyways, but they lied to the rest of the world. But they grounded all domestic flights. They didn't want this spreading throughout their country, but they didn't ground the international flights. That was an intentional move. They're responsible for deaths all around this country, all around this world. And we shouldn't give them a pass. We really should not. Giving them a pass is like just saying it's okay. They've been getting a pass from our government for 25 years now. It's time to say enough. It's time to put the foot down. It's time to put foot in ass if necessary. You cannot allow a communist regime to run over a free America, as great as it is. But back to the original talk. People used to take pride in their jobs. And a lot of people still do. I know a lot of people. I've met a lot of people over the years. And one thing that they all had in common was they worked hard to provide a living for their families. They worked hard to provide for their household. And they all had great pride in themselves. They had great pride in what they did. They were honorable people. If they said, hey, man, I'm a little short this week. Let me hold a little bit of money. I'll have it back to you Friday afternoon. You can bet you was going to get that money back Friday afternoon. It was an honor thing. If the neighbor came over and said, hey, times are a little rough right now. Fridge is a little low. Not only would you give them some food, but when they came to return it, you would tell them, hell no, you keep it. One day I might need a favor. It's honor. It's pride in community. We're losing that. We are losing pride in community. And when you start losing pride in community, the nation starts turning on its heel. It starts going downhill. Turning on its head. It's going downhill. And if you look around right now, we don't have any pride in community. We have gangbangers. We have troublemakers. We have socialists. We have people burning down their own neighborhoods or actually coming into other people's neighborhoods, burning them down. We have a a very big problem with people who have walked away and they don't have pride in this country like previous generations did. The previous generations were taught. I know I was. Most of the people I know, if I talk to them, and I have talked to them, they were taught from the time they were old enough to speak good that we pledge allegiance to the flag. You know, we sing the national anthem. We stand in honor of the flag. We take pride in the fact that we're Americans and that we have the greatest country in the world. And we take pride in the fact that our forefathers fought hard and died so that we could have this country. We take pride in the fact that men and women in our uniforms serving under this flag have fought wars all across the world. They have rescued the world several times over. They have fought evil around the world several times over. You look right now at what goes on around the rest of the world, and it does not happen in this country. It's a rule of law nation. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Every American citizen has that right. Whether or not they have pride in themselves and whether or not they know their own self-worth and apply themselves determines whether or not they will be successful. Those are the only factors that determine if a person is going to be successful. If you don't have any honor and pride and self-worth and you don't know the value of community, you won't be nothing here, because you have to have those morals and that set of morals to be there. And part of it was the fact that we were founded as a Christian nation. You know, a lot of people want to look over that and forget that, or even, you know, dismiss that. We were founded on a set of Christian principles. Okay? We came from other places here for the right to freedom of religion. That was one of the biggest things of coming to this country. You could have freedom of religion. You could have freedom of speech. You could have all these freedoms because of an honorable, great nation and the people, men and women, that have died fighting for this flag to protect that. We don't have that anymore. Now we have a indoctrinated class of people with no self-worth, rich Ivy League white kids that run around the country trying to cause anarchy and denounce the flag. They denounce our soldiers. They denounce our police. They want to disfund the police, which is a ridiculous concept. These rich Ivy League kids that are doing all this are dumb. I mean, flat out dumb. Most of the time, they don't know what they're protesting. If they do know what they're protesting, they're hypocrites about it. They're tearing down statues of people who were actually involved in civil rights and things like that. But they're too dumb to know it. They're too stupid to know it, because the only thing they've been taught throughout school is everybody's a victim. You're never wrong. They've never been taught the word no. And they've never been taught about honor, pride, and self-worth. They don't know how to make a living. They do not contribute anything to our society. At some point, we have to push back against these people. These people will drag our country down and destroy it. They have socialist values. They have communist values. They believe in big government. And when you think about that, I'm a conservative. I believe in freedoms. I believe in what the Constitution says. I do not believe in big government. I believe government needs to keep its nose out of your personal life. The reason I believe that is because there's so many other countries in the world where you're not allowed to think for yourself. You're not allowed to speak and say what is on your mind, for fear of retribution, for fear of imprisonment. We're the only country on the planet, that has protections from those things. At this point, they've tried to take God out of everything. Just like right now, you can go do anything under the sun, but there's still certain places where you cannot practice your First Amendment right to go to church. Why is that? Well, you attack faith, you take away people's faith. They're a lot easier to control. They're not sheep anymore. They're not zombies. You take that away, they become sheep. They become zombies. If they have faith and they believe in a higher power, and they believe in good and evil, right and wrong, honorable, dishonorable, then they have a set of morals. We're all born with a moral compass. Whether or not we actually follow that moral compass or we choose to ignore it, that's a personal decision. That's where individual responsibility comes in. And if you don't have any pride and self-worth in yourself, then more than likely you're going to go down that road of doing things that are not moral and not right and do not benefit the community or the country. Self-worth is very, very important. But bigger than self-worth is individual responsibility. We have a problem in our society with blaming others for everything. We have a problem in our society with telling lies and being hypocrites about everything. We have a problem in our society of when somebody does something, instead of holding them individually responsible, we want to project it on whoever fits the narrative at that moment. This is all wrong. It's all upside down and it's all wrong. And the great men and women who have worn all these uniforms over the years, fighting, patrolling, policing, rescuing all over this great nation, do not deserve this. Their legacy should live as a legacy of heroes, because that's what they are. They're heroes across this great nation. The longer we sit back and keep our mouths shut and just allow for people to just downgrade our police officers and treat them like the dirt, like the gum on the bottom of their shoe or something, the further down this country will go. And you have a group, and you could call them, it's the same group I've been talking about, George Soros funded, Democrat funded. They're all the same thing, whether it's funded by George Soros or it's funded by Democrats, and they're just using a narrative to try to lock down votes, whatever. It's all the same thing. It's hypocrisy. Basically, you have rich, white, Ivy League liberals, and what they do is they go out there and they are arrogant enough to think that somehow they are better than the black community. And the reason I say that they think that they're better than the black community is because they are arrogant enough to think that black men and women cannot stand up and get ahead in life without them coming to rescue them. They're the racist. That's what a racist is. But yet they project that on everyone else. It's disgraceful. It's very disgraceful. These people have no honor. They have no pride. They have no self-worth. They have no community worth. They burn and desecrate and stomp on our flag. They call the police terrible names, assault the police, and then it's like the media just goes along with this narrative. The media tries to do what the media tries to do. But right now, the media is just an extension of the Democratic Party. That's all it is. Being an extension of the Democratic Party, they want to dishonor all these great Americans. We're tearing down statues of Americans that fought, and some died, some didn't, but some died. But they all fought, okay, for equal rights, equal justice under the law, equality amongst the people of this country, to where everybody has the opportunity for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And because some do not take that opportunity, and because some are indoctrinated with this belief that somehow they can't do it because they're a victim, or somehow these people, these groups of people funded by all these different parties, think that they have to go out and rescue people because the nation is such a hateful nation. It's all ludicrous, and it's all lies. Working class people across this country still have pride. They still have self-worth, and they still have honor. You know, I'm a working class American, 60, 70 hours a week, whatever it takes. It's about having that ownership and that individual responsibility to know that I have to make the decisions to do what's right for me and my family. If I have to get up, like right now, if I went to work tomorrow and they said, hey, guess what, bud? You drew the short straw. You're going to have to go on night shift, and you're going to have to stay there for the next year. You're probably going to be working 70 hours a week, and you're probably going to struggle because that's going to be a hard shift to fill. But that's what you're going to do. I would have two options. I can find something else, or I can stick it out. Most of the time, if you stick it out and you show your self-worth, you show your honor, you show your pride, you will move up. You will make it places. It's the people who do not have that dedication, who do not have that work ethic, that don't make it. So, if you come from nothing and you've worked your way, and you're not rich by no means, but you've worked your way up to where you live comfortably, and you come from nothing. You've got, you're able to pay all your bills. You got a little bit of money cushion. You got savings started. You got a 401k, saving for retirement. Because even though the government takes retirement out of your check, it won't never be enough, and it might not even be there. You invest in things. You invest in land, gold, money, land, gold, assets. Hell, even guns and ammo. That's an asset. The things you invest in are things that you can get a return out of if you hold on to them long enough. That's what an investment is. A car, going out and spending, $70,000 on a car, putting a $5,000 set of rims on it, that's not an investment. That's going to depreciate in value. It's not going to do you any good. I learned years ago, and I started just saying, okay, when I go get a car, because I am individually responsible for myself and my actions, I walk in there and I tell them what I need. I need something affordable. I need something reliable. I need something with a warranty. I need something that I can drive for 5 or 6 years, and then I can either give it away, I can crash it into a tree, I can do whatever with it. It's paid for. It's mine. But it gets me through that period, and I go get another one. That's what cars are for. They are a tool just like any other tool that you use to get a job done. Having individual responsibility and knowing that keeps me from going out here and buying a car that I'm going to pay $1,200 a month for. Why should I pay $1,200 a month for a vehicle if I can pay $350 or $400? It makes no sense. Individual responsibility is how you build your credit. You have to make your payments on time. You have to make sure you're using credit to build credit. You have to take care of your doctor bills, take care of your responsibilities. If you say you're going to pay something, you got to pay it, but it builds your credit over time. Credit is worth more than cash any day of the week. I could be sitting here right now and lose every penny to my name, but I have enough credit to where I can turn right around and invest, start a business. There's lots of things I can do, but I have enough credit to where my family wouldn't go hungry. Not at all. Your credit utilization is important, and it's all about individual responsibility. How you behave, how you carry yourself, and what you do in life still comes down to individual responsibility. It comes down to a moral compass. It comes down to how much pride you have in yourself. And it comes down to how much honor you have. 2 generations ago, people lived by this standard. 3 generations ago, people lived by this standard. A generation ago, people lived by this standard. My generation was taught this standard. Somehow, some way, my generation dropped the ball when it comes to raising these kids. We absolutely have messed this up, and it's up to us to fix it. You've got to take individual responsibility for the country, okay? And the reason I say that and the way I'd like to explain it, if you have your house and you pay for all your bills and everything, you're going to protect that home. Somebody comes in destroying your stuff, you're going to protect your stuff, you're going to protect your family. The country's no different. If you're an American working class person and you're paying all the bills of this country, it's no different. We need to stand up and we need to protect it. And if you're scared, get the hell out of the way. And if you don't like the country, get the hell out. I mean, nobody's forcing you to stay here. Let's work together to try to make this thing right. If we don't, might not be 2 years from now, might not be 5 years from now, but the day will come when we will be able to look back, and we will be able to look back at this year, 2020, and we will know that this is the year we made the decisions that destroyed this great nation.